Hello everybody, today I'm ranking every anime that I've ever watched. Okay, so first is the criteria. So the ranking will be based on how much I personally enjoyed the show. So this is my opinion. All of us have experienced the show in a different way, so my ranking will definitely be different from yours. And this is based on all official media I consumed. Even though I'm ranking anime, I will still be basing off the manga I read of it or maybe the movies. And a minor spoiler, I didn't put really any big spoilers, but I'm putting it here just in case. Alright, number 7. So Solo Leveling, here's a plot overview. So basically the weakest dude on Earth, like I don't know how they managed to track that, but it's this dude. He randomly gets the power to level up from some double dungeon and he becomes overpowered and gets a shadow army. And honestly, it's just kind of the same plot as like those recap anime you see on TikTok. So I watched season 1 and season 2. And honestly, this show has basically no plot. I know the books have more plot, but I didn't read any of the books. I don't remember the name of any of the side characters. And honestly, I think they could have given like a superhero nickname to some of the S rank hunters, like the fire guy. They could have like gave him like Blazing Inferno as a nickname to make them more memorable. And the animation, even though it's good, I still think it can't carry the whole show. Like Solo Leveling's animation, I feel like it's good to contain the a good story because all the lines are drawn clearly, all the shadows are drawn well, but I still feel like it's like brain numbingly like super good. I feel like I'd want like Jujutsu Kaisen type animation because again, this show has no story, so the animation has to be able to carry. And I feel like it's good, but it's not that type of animation that can carry the whole show from just watching it. And obviously, the main character is way too overpowered. Like by the end of season 2, he easily beats someone that just solos all the S rank hunters. And the S rank hunters are like the strongest hunters in um like the whole world. So that just doesn't make much sense. Number 6. Okay, so Neon Genesis Evangelion. I think this is gonna be a pretty hot take. So the plot is basically that angels, like you see this black guy right here, he's the bad guy basically, and they're attacking the planet. So they force little kids, like, well, they don't force him technically. They make little kids like this guy. His name is Shinji to go into these mech suits, like this purple one you see over here. And this story goes a lot with depression. Okay, that's one of the main themes. And even though it's really popular, I don't think it's as good as people say. So I watched the original show and the end of Evangelion movie, and honestly, the plot is actually kind of repetitive, I feel like. It always feels like an angel is attacking the earth. You fight the angel and it dies and you go back to having like normal life, depression and stuff, and then another angel comes and you defeat it. And one big thing I hate about this show is that it has little to no emphasis on combat. I know a show doesn't have to be all combat, but like it has basically nothing. Every angel almost I feel like that they fight, it always goes like the angel appears, they go and fight them, they start losing, and they use some random gimmick to one shot the angel. I feel like it would be better. Well, I really wish that there was at least one fight where they were going all out to like pushing past their limits, like just pure hands in combat instead of using some weird gimmick to one shot the angel. And I also wish they had one part where they showed how much the main character has like become a better pilot, because I feel like every single time our main character, Shinji, he always starts getting scared and he lets his mech carry him. the last 2 episodes now, I have no idea what happens. And here's a tiny nitpick, but there's this Asuka girl, like, you see this one in the middle? Yeah, I've only watched the original show, and I don't think I've seen her win a single fight, honestly. I don't know why. Next, number 5 is Death Note. So Death Note, its plot overview is that Light, he's a genius high school student. He finds the Death Note, and it can kill anybody if you just write their name inside of the Death Note. And he starts killing prisoners because he thinks those people deserve to die. But killing prisoners is still a crime, right? So Detective L, who is the best detective in the world, tries to find out who he is to arrest him. But the thing is, L isn't his real name, so you can't just write his name in the Death Note. And L has no idea who is writing these names and that the Death Note exists. So it's actually pretty cool. And honestly, I don't have much to say other than the mind games are really interesting and the pacing is pretty good. So nothing much to say. And now, starting from now, all the anime, like, I started enjoying them more. Like, it's one level above than the ones that I already listed. Not saying that the ones I already listed were bad, but just saying I actually enjoyed the ones that we're going to see way more than the ones that I just named. Like, I watched theory videos of it, ranking videos, you know what I mean. Number 4, One Piece. Okay, so the plot overview. So Luffy, he tries to find the One Piece and become king of the pirates, okay? And he recruits crew members along the ways and explores tons of cool islands, like the ones you see right here. And there's a lot of sad backstories. So I finished Marineford, okay, which is like the midway point, and I watched a 7-hour recap video, so I'm caught up on the manga basically. And I think the lore is pretty decent. Like, that's one of the biggest parts of One Piece. But I think One Piece's biggest strength is its mysteries. Like, we don't know who Emu is, who Joy Boy is, what the One Piece is, and where it's located. That's probably the stuff that we want to know the most, right? That's why we're always so interested in the new chapters and everything. And I think the power system, it's okay. Like Hockey and Devil Fruits. I don't think it's like the most interesting because they don't really correlate with each other much. And one of the worst parts about One Piece is obviously its pacing, but it's like really bad to the point where it's actually a slog to watch. Like, you go through a 20-minute episode and barely anything happens. So that's one of my least favorite parts of One Piece. It just feels more like a task to watch than actually fun. You know what I mean? Next, number 3 is Demon Slayer. Okay, so it's plot overview. So there are these things called demons, okay? And they're man-eating monsters that are really strong. They have regenerative abilities, but they die in the sun. And the only way to kill them is to cut their head or force them go into the sunlight. So Tanjiro, our main character, his family gets killed by a demon, and his sister turns into a demon, so he becomes a demon slayer and fights demons. Okay, so I watched every season of Demon Slayer except for the new Infinity Castle movie, and I finished the manga, so I know the whole thing. And this was my first anime, so that's why it's ranked pretty high. So one part that's really good about Demon Slayer, everybody knows, its animation is really good, right? And this doesn't feel like the usual animation. Now look here in the photos. Like, do you see Tanjiro's water attack and the fire attack right here? It doesn't look like the usual good animation. It feels like very brain stimulating. I feel like it could actually carry the whole show because of just how cool it looks. Another part that's really good about Demon Slayer is its character design. You see right here, these are the Hashira, and you can tell that the character design is really good. You know, they all look pretty distinct. The power system, I won't say it's good because there's not really any difference between the breathing styles, but I must say that it's really cool. Like, each one having kind of an elemental thing to it. Like there's like fire breathing, wind breathing, stone breathing. It's just really cool. That's all I have to say. And the plot, it's definitely not really complicated, but definitely really engaging. And this is basically just solo leveling if it was actually good. Like the animation actually feels like it can carry, like, it's like the brain dead type of animation, but there's still a good plot, good backstories, and actually good side characters. Number 2 is Frieren. Okay, so it's plot overview. It doesn't really have like a main plot. That's one of the bad parts about it. But I tried to summarize it as best as I could. So basically, after defeating Demon King, Frieren, this white-haired girl, a 1,000-year-old elf, regrets not learning more about this Himmel dude, which is this blue hair guy. So she decides to go on a journey to where the dead people rest or something. So she has to travel the whole world again. And she also takes on like a few apprentices. Like you see these two people here. Yeah, they're like her apprentices kind of. So I watched season 1. I haven't watched season 2 yet. I'm waiting for the whole thing to be released and then to watch it all in one take. And it's really chill, okay? Sometimes I just like to watch it in chill. Like, it's not too engaging. Nothing much happens, but I think I like it. The visuals are pretty nice. There's not a lot of fights, but when there are fights, they're pretty cool. Like as you can see right here, the characters are all pretty interesting, you know. But what I don't really like is that there are a lot of common tropes. The world building is like kind of repetitive. Like not repetitive. I meant it's the same as a lot of different anime, but this story's focus is more on emotional stuff, so I think I can let that pass. And now for my number 1 is Blue Lock. So its plot overview is that Isagi, this kid, he fails to make the nationals because he passed to his teammate and his teammate missed. So then the other team scores, and he then gets selected to a Blue Lock program where the top 300 teenagers in Japan, they go through a few selections and training stuff. And like they slowly get eliminated, and the number 1 striker out of all of these 300 will be promised to become the best striker in the world and lead Japan to the World Cup. Because in the story, Japan is an underdeveloped country when it comes to soccer or football. So I am caught up on the manga, so I always watch those weekly releases. Um, I really like Blue Lock's ranking system about like how they get treated. Like I remember Isagi at the start, he was like ranked 299, and he doesn't eat really good stuff. But as he gets higher, like his bed upgrades and stuff, he gets to eat steak. Um, Also, what I really like is that the games are really high intensity. Like there are a lot of memes about how soccer shouldn't be that serious, but I think it's really cool how they're basically putting their life on the line just for soccer. I like the power system. It's not really a power system, but basically every character has a weapon. Like for example, good dribbling, being very fast, being very good at shooting. And before I watched this show, I didn't know that the characters would have weapons, and I still thought it would be interesting. But with this weapon thing, um, every character is unique and they actually stand out. So like even if there's a character that you feel like is useless, because each character has like a unique weapon, they all feel unique and none of the characters are really forgettable. And so a Blue Lock is really entertaining. I mean, watching soccer is alright entertaining, but if you get to script it, then it becomes even more entertaining. But definitely the worst part about Blue Lock is definitely the animation in season 2. So as you can see in the top right corner, they literally used a PNG of the ball. The characters sometimes they literally just show a image with a wavy effect, and that really sucks. The season 1 animation was fine, but since I actually just like to read the manga, that's not really a big problem. So thank you for listening, everybody, and like and subscribe. And what do you think of my ranking?